Hello everyone, let's take some time to review September's 3-card blind tournament results here together. As a quick reminder, this is the first time we are seeing in this tournament what the results look like with Black Lotus absent from the meta. As the result of Black Lotus being banned, we got to see a number of decks that simply were not viable in the previous meta arise to the surface. Let's start by addressing some of the popular cards that were played this month, beginning with Caracas. Caracas was the most popular card this month with a 19.76% popularity. Interestingly, Caracas only had a 47% win rate. I think the reason the card was so popular is because it is relatively easy to include in your deck as your mana source, and it also was a card that was attractive to people because in the prior month, Dark Depths was one of the strongest decks, and Dark Depths was also one of the few decks that was not affected by the Black Lotus ban in a significant way. For that reason, many players anticipated that Dark Depths was going to be a deck that they needed to be able to beat to be able to participate in this meta. That being said, Dark Depths turned out not to be very popular this month with only a 2.59% popularity. And between Caracas and a few other cards used to counter Dark Depths, that only managed to obtain a measly 31% average score. I think it is fair to say that the prevalence of Caracas this month was due to an overreaction in response to a fear that Dark Depths might take over the meta. There were only 3 other cards that had a greater than 10% popularity, and they were all mana sources. They were City of Traders at a 13.62% popularity, Lion's Eye Diamond at a 12.93% popularity, and Mishra's Workshop at a 10.22% popularity. This shouldn't come as too much of a surprise because the banning of Black Lotus left players looking for alternatives for cards that are able to generate more than 1 mana on turn 1. Before we begin to review some of the top decks, I do have one more card I'd like to discuss, which is Mind Swords. If you were part of the Discord conversation, you would know that Mind Swords was a card that many players were concerned about, both because it is very powerful, but also because the card can be very frustrating to play against. Mind Swords combined with Young Wolf and Bayou, or Mox Jet and Mishra's Factory, presents a strategy that is extremely powerful when that player gets to take the first turn of the game, and is still reasonably powerful even when it takes the second turn of the game. The reason I am bringing this up is because Mind Swords only achieved what looks like a 49% win rate this month. However, although that statistic is accurate, it also is disguising what really happened. A couple of players made a mistake in their deck submissions. They didn't actually read Mind Swords very carefully and didn't see that in order to use its alternative cost, you need to control a swamp. I did want to clarify this because Mind Swords is a card that will almost certainly be part of the community vote for bans this month, and usually I rely very heavily on statistics to support those bans or potentially voting against banning those cards. But in this particular case, Mind Swords' actual win rate would be 65% for the Bayou Mind Swords Young Wolf deck, and 69% for the Mind Swords Mishra's Factory Mox Jet list, and that is actually disguised by the fact that a couple of players submitted decks that actually couldn't cast Mind Swords. So with that, let's transition to talking about some of our winners. In Group E, there was a tie between El Makino and I'm not even sure what this person's username is supposed to be, but it'll be on the screen. El Makino's deck was the Mind Swords Mishra's Factory Mox Jet list that we just talked about, and in this particular pod, El Makino managed to get a 75% average score. This other individual submitted Sen's Tactician, Curse of Silence, and Caracas, which also got an average score of 75%. But what I do really think is interesting here is the choice of using Curse of Silence over something like Leyline of Singularity. It looks like, at least in this particular case, Curse of Silence proved to be an extremely powerful card in locking down games by preventing the opponent from deploying their threats too quickly or even at all. Next up, in Group D, we had Void on Boseiju, Who Endures, Hickory Woodlot, and Mayor of Avabruck. Void managed to claim a whopping 91% average score. That makes this particular deck currently the highest average score for any deck list, even edging out Black Lotus, City of Traders, and Jace Wielder of Mysteries, which contains 2 notoriously powerful banned cards. I think Void's success can be attributed to making a really great meta call, with Boseiju and Mayor of Averbruck combining utility and power into a single list. Next, in Group C, we have Twin, who came in first place with Boseiju Who Endures, Hexdrinker, and Simic Growth Chamber, with an average score of 73%. Again, we see Boseiju appearing here as a card that offers a lot of utility. Twin is not only able to use Boseiju's channel to destroy a artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land, but also because Hexdrinker is a powerful outlet to sink mana into, there is an additional option to just play Boseiju as a land to level up Hexdrinker just a little bit faster. In Group B, our winner was Yum36 with Chancellor of the Forge, Lion's Eye Diamond, and Shadowgrange Arcfiend at an 82% average score. And because of the striking similarity of their deck lists, I do want to jump to Group A and also talk about our champion, Subnova42, who was playing Dryad Arbor, Lion's Eye Diamond, and Shadowgrange Arcfiend with an average score of 85%. There is no question here that the Lion's Eye Diamond Shadowgrange Arcfiend core is an extremely powerful combination for a deck, but I think it's really interesting to take a look at that third card, because a lot of people played Lion's Eye Diamond and Shadowgrange Arcfiend together, but there was not a clear consensus on what to use in that third slot, and it did matter. So in Yum Yum's case, Sparky 10 was in the same pod with an extremely similar list: Lion's Eye Diamond, Shadowgrange Arcfiend, and Leyline of Sanctity. But Sparky only managed to get a 61% average score, so swapping that Leyline of Sanctity for Chancellor of the Forge made a huge impact on the outcomes for Yum36. Similarly, in Group A, Subnova managed to edge out Buster's Browns, who was playing Lion's Eye Diamond, Shadowgrange Arcfiend, Necrogoyf, and got a 62% average score, as well as Patamophile, who had Lion's Eye Diamond, Shadowgrange Arcfiend, and Chancellor of the Forge that came in at 83%. I especially want to highlight that difference between Chancellor of the Forge and Dryad Arbor here, because it might not be intuitive why the Dryad Arbor performed slightly better. The reason is that Telf was playing Chancellor of the Forge Karakas, Leyline of Singularity, and Leyline of Singularity makes all non-land permanents legendary. So Karakas can bounce any creature, however, because Dryad Arbor is also a land, it doesn't get that legendary super type and can't be bounced by Karakas. And that alone was enough of an edge for Subnova to claim a higher win rate than Patamophile, getting them first place this month. So I'd like to congratulate all of our winners again: El Mikino, whoever this person is, Void, Twin, Yum36, and Subnova42 for performing so well this month. I'd also like to issue a special congratulations to Subnova42, who has just claimed the #1 spot on our lifetime leaderboard, which secures their role as champion in the community. As usual, I will be inviting the community to participate in ban voting for cards for next month, so stay tuned for updates on that in the near future. Thank you to all of you who participated. It's been awesome seeing the cool decks that you came up with. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you soon.